2021. First item on the agenda is the approval of minutes from September 14th. Everybody a chance to review the minutes or so, any comments, changes, or corrections?
That's all, I believe that I closed out the meeting and not you. Said I closed out the meeting and not you. It said Mr. Brown, Chairman Brown, closed the meeting.
Okay.
Oh, it really happened.
It does.
I can't remember, I was on the note, so I couldn't before you did it.
Right, yeah, I think it was the very last.
It's the very last thing.
Yep.
Yep, thank you.
Next, we have a motion to approve the minutes with that, adjustment.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion by Sawyer, have a second.
Second.
Moving second, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, like that? Oh, that's it, that's it. Might as well do that.
I'm in the wrong spot.
Yeah. Next item on the agenda. And here is no old business, new business, plan approval for Rock Haven subdivision for a new 30 Main Street.
All right, the agenda was sent out on the promise that I would get a plat. The plat came in after the agenda went out, and after reviewing the plat, it was not suitable for review. So I'm taking it off of this agenda.
Okay. Next order of business, rezoning application, file 2108 for 24 Gun Drive, for general manufacturing only, but
Mr. Chairman. Mr. Gerald Robinette, on behalf of New Vision Baptist Church, has requested his rezoning from M1 general manufacturing to R20 residential. This is Travis Road, outside the city limits, it's in the EPJ. This is Mount Church Road coming down here, Norfolk Southern up here. There's a couple subdivisions here on Isle Court and Taylor Court. All this property here that is zoned M1 is built as residential. A lot of small, older homes, some mobile homes in there. Most of that was built when this property was brought into the ETJ and zoned. So I can't tell you exactly what the thinking was in making that all M1. We do have a sewer line that runs here, but it runs on the back side of the street. We have water that goes down this street, but not here. It's about probably 800 feet from there to there. This property is a little over 3.5 acres. I'm told that the church would like to sell this property to a gentleman who wants to build a home here. We changed the M1 zoning. M1 zoning used to allow single-family residential, but 2 years ago, I think Mr. Barnes changed that so that residential is no longer allowed in M1. The thinking being that it would be better to get separation between industrial and residential uses. My feeling on this property is it is already surrounded by residential uses. It would be a better fit if this was zoned for residential and developed residentially. The likelihood of any manufacturing going on to just this parcel is very small. You see here, this is the parcel in the middle. These are 20-foot contour lines, so it's about 50 to 60 feet of drop from the road to the stream in the back. So that's not terribly conducive to any kind of significant development. And the likelihood of being able to assemble all of these M1 parcels to build anything of any size is pretty small. Mr. Lyons and I discussed at one point that at least in the land development plan, if not before that, the city should probably initiate a rezoning of these residential properties to residentially used but M1 zone properties to residential. recommendation is, even though the land development plan shows this area as industrial, that this property would be better suited to residential use, and that the board should grant that change.
On either side of the property, go back to that. On either side of the property, the speeding zone.
So there's a home there, a home there, a home there, a home there. This is vacant, but I've had somebody ask about building that. There's a home there, there's a home there. There's a home across the street.
And you say the church owns that property?
New Vision Expert is that, and owns that property, and Mr. Robinette is here, if you would like to ask him questions.
Okay, where is the church located?
I don't know.
There's no church on the property. Okay, so it's just, was that a gift to the church one time?
We actually purchased the property with the potential of maybe building a church on the property, and it's just not worked out for us to
Gotcha.
build on that property.
Gotcha.
And you will need a public.
Right.
There's 3 acres in this parcel, and the request for rezoning is from, the request for rezoning is from one individual wanting to build a home.
That is what I understand.
Well, it's the church, the church is requesting for zoning.
The church is requesting the zone.
To sell
I
it.
believe this,
There's a mutual understanding. Yeah, I agree with both parties.
there's nothing to say that this would only be developed as a single family home. Someone could buy it, potentially subdivide it, and put on other homes.
We're going to open a public meeting. If I'd like to comment on the proposed rezoning, please step forward. Well, please, come to the podium, state your name and address to the record, please.
First and foremost, my name is Wayne Low, and I'm a Conover resident.
And what's your address, please, for the record?
Oh, my address is 1221 Freepan, Conover. And first I want to thank the planning board and the city of Conover for allowing me this opportunity to come and join the meeting. And as the gentleman mentioned, he hits everything on the nail, and probably going to be beyond the church for a while. And it could be either too large or too small for a church. I believe it's probably too small for a church to put a church there. And it's probably too small for any manufacturing to put a plant there too. So, and I drive through there, and a lot of surrounding area is living by residents. I don't see no business around, so I believe this is better suited to put it as his own as a resident. I want to thank the county and board for considering that. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments from the public? We'll close the public meeting. All right, that's it. Any other comments, suggestions? Oh, not, but
Just to continue on with something that you said, Eric, about in the planning office, there had been discussion about bringing those other properties into rezone. Is this a good time to do that, or?
That would be a little more difficult when you pull in more properties. You have a lot more people involved.
Okay.
It would have delayed this for a long time, and I know that they would like to get this done.
Oh, sure, I just meant as a consequence down the road.
We actually talked about whether or not we should do that at this time, but with Alan leaving and as busy as we've been, we thought it would be a disservice to ask him to wait.
that's what I'm, how I'm sort of kind of grandfather in the old rules, and if they're in one, if they're registered, I won't do it.
That's correct.
So I guess technically, those people can sell their properties and have manufacturing.
When we changed the code and took single-family housing out of M1, we declared in the code that any housing prior to January 1st, I think, of 2020, would be considered conforming. So they're technically not non-conforming. You just can't build a new home on a vacant M1 lot.
Something like this.
Right, it can't be M1. You have to find something else to run it to.
concur with Mr. Phillips' presentation, I thought it was good use of the land, and, if it's appropriate this time, I'll make the motion, and that we accept the rezone request as presented. I can read the, statement this time, I'll wait for a second then.
Do you have a second? Second. All in favor, say aye. 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 Pose like sign. Okay, you got the verbiage in there for us to.
Okay, it says, I move to approve rezoning request R 21-08 for the property at 2064 Crown Drive, shown on the exhibit A map from M1 General Manufacturing to R20 Residential General, and amending the land development plan map to reflect this change. I find that while the request is not consistent with the land development plan, it is reasonable and in the public interest because, one, the residential development of this parcel is harmonious with the surrounding residential uses, and two, the area of small parcels is not suitable for manufacturing and other high-impact uses.
I have that cart full of horse, we can go and make them. Move it, for that motion to be approved.
I think we could,
Move on.
we'll get the CIA to cut it all into.
Okay. All right. Next item on our agenda here, permit report.
Farmer report for September, not a lot to look at, a couple new homes in Rock Barn, $235,000 homes, and, new standalone Dunkin' Donuts in front of the Lowe's, Food Line Shopping Center that they've already pulled their permits, they're getting ready to do the construction,
Will it take more than? Or,
sort of. I mean, it's a building you can't walk into, does it really have a front?
so it's drive-in only?
Yep. And apparently, from what I understand, there were plenty of other places looking at it as well. Somebody told me they saw standalone Wendy's that you could go into. So,
We're get the new one.
it's going in the Food Line, it'll be in the corner, other corner of the parking lot, away from the ABC
How do you
store.
see that, is it in that parking lot?
It'll be in the parking
Oh,
lot.
okay.
Right about.
That, that's what it costs me.
And so you can go to the liquor store and then go drive through the donut shop. Next meeting will be Tuesday, November 2nd, as far as I can tell. We might have Rock Haven ready in time to go for that, we'll see. There will be, survey work starting along First Street from exit 130 to in front of the Food Line down at 16 for the First Street East and West bike and transportation upgrade. Pardon me?
So they're finally gonna get that going again?
Well, we've had a grant for a while and DOT put us on hold because they ran out of money. That's the way it's been portrayed to us. In fact, this money, if I'm pretty sure was awarded to us in a different grant. Having to do with the railroad shot us down. So at that point, DOT said, well, you can still use the money to come up with a different project. I don't remember how much we talked about this year. I'm pretty sure we did.
A long time.
It has been a couple of years, but it looks like for the amount of money that we have, that most of these improvements are going to be, either paint only. In other words, we won't be changing curb lines. We may be restriping and adding bike lanes and things like that. There may be lane reductions on, 70 here as it goes past Concordia. Go down from 4 lanes to 3 lanes with bike lanes on each side, and we may have some money for some sidewalk and crosswalk improvements. But they're doing a survey work on that, and then this phase, they'll submit a plan to us on what they suggest they do. I don't remember the timeline, but they will be starting the survey work next week.
I remember the term used as lane diet.
No, don't say that.
Don't do that.
Don't say, don't.
Well, hey, I just said I recall.
Road diet is a bad word.
I think that's what that lady just said, Colin, that presented it to us at the.
Yeah. It's gonna be more in terms of striping.
Yeah, we don't wanna buy any right of way. We don't wanna do any new curbing and stuff like that if we can avoid it, and that was the plan to begin with. So, there won't be big changes. There was a lot of resistance to this even after we did First Avenue and put in new islands and stuff like that, so. There's some members of council I know and probably community as well that are a little gun shy over any kind of change to the major road. So, I mean, I already know that this turnout here, they changed that one lane to right turn only in front of the old care station. And that doesn't really work because only half the people in that lane use it that way. That's all I have for y'all tonight.
We're gonna need new traffic circles, they're on.
What did I do to deserve such distinction?
Any other business? Or we good? Okay. Yeah, don't drag these on this one. I said, don't drag